your intimate relationship goes south, it's super, super easy to blame the other person and to insist that they need to change. But you can't force anyone to change except yourself. And, I'm no stranger to failing relationships. My marriage struggled for a decade or more. And I really felt confident that the only solution was for my husband to change. And if he didn't change, then I was going to have to leave. But as a last ditch effort, to kind of save the marriage, or at least to clean up my act so that I could have a better relationship in the future, I joined a personal growth program and focused on changing myself. And I do know, and I knew then that sometimes when you change, the people around you change. And again, I knew that if my marriage ended, that I would just bring all my baggage with me if I didn't fix whatever needed to be fixed in myself, right? I didn't want to bring those same relationship habits or patterns into a new relationship. And now it's been almost 3 years since I made that decision, and I'm still married and I'm still working on myself, and my husband's doing some work on himself. And our relationship is a whole lot better than it's been in the last, like 2 decades. So how did I create that shift? Well, I can think of 10 ways. And none of these have to do with the other person changing at all. All has to do with you changing. So I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. I have a related blog post that goes into a little more depth, but video is pretty similar. Anyway, so 10 ways to create change in your intimate relationship without asking your partner to change. The first is to take responsibility. First and foremost, take responsibility for your partner relationship not working. Relationship takes 2 people. Right? I would complain all the time that my husband refused to change. And then I looked at myself and realized I was doing the same thing over and over again, like complaining about him and thinking negative thoughts about him and expecting a different outcome. Well, that's insanity, right? I needed to change. I needed to change how I was thinking and how I was approaching him and the relationship. So you have to get honest with yourself, brutally honest. What are you doing that creates issues in the relationship? And then stop doing those things and stop expecting other people to be different if you're still the same, right? Second thing is to stop complaining. I mentioned that. And the third is going to be don't criticize. I did a lot of complaining, and that's a recipe for a partner who feels inadequate and unappreciated and unloved. And when your partner feels that way, they're going to respond in kind. So complaining focuses on the negative on the negative in your relationship or in your partner. And the more you focus on what you don't like, the more you're going to see what you don't like. So you have to stop looking for what you don't like and start looking for what you do like and appreciate, and then share that. Criticism, as I said, is the third one. It's a lot like complaining, but criticism is complaining that's directly directed personally at your partner. So you might complain that your partner never takes out the trash, but then you criticize your partner for being lazy or thoughtless or unhelpful. And that latter part, the criticism, is directed at the person and what you don't like about them. And those complaints can be interpreted. The person interprets those complaints as being about their character. And when you tell someone you don't like who they are, that really hurts, and it leaves them feeling unaccepted and unloved, and that's not going to help your relationship. All right, number 4 is to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how can anyone else love you? You have to level up your self-love to improve your intimate relationships. Because when you don't love yourself, you allow your partner to treat you poorly and to criticize you and to tell you who they think you should be. And you'll allow yourself to become small and lose your authenticity and cater only to your partner's wishes rather than to your own. So you have to love yourself enough to stand up for yourself, to be yourself in your relationship, to exercise your personal freedom and your personal power. We're about to start talking about that in the Inspired Creator community, about personal power and personal freedom come September. If that interests you, there's a link up above. Number 5 is to set boundaries. When you genuinely love yourself, you set boundaries. And those protect you from the behavior you find hurtful or abusive or disrespectful from your partner. I had to set some boundaries with my husband about how he spoke to me, especially if he drank too much. And I told him specifically, I love myself too much to allow you to speak to me that way. And if you do it again, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave the marriage. Now, he kind of saw that as an ultimatum, but it wasn't. It was just me loving myself enough to care for and protect myself. So set boundaries. The sixth way is to close the back door. So I lived for many years with the back door open, always planning my escape from the marriage. But your relationship is going to flounder as long as you have that back door open as an escape route. You have to be 100% committed to making it work. You have to be all in, right? All that time I spent thinking about what would I do if I walked out and asked for a divorce, I could have spent that energy on making the marriage work. Right. And so if you've never heard that quote, burn the boats, that's a lot what I'm talking about. Shutting the back door is the same. So in like 1519, Hernan Cortez, when he arrived in the New World, told his troops to burn the boats. 600 men. He said, burn the boats, and there was no turning back. And 2 years later, he succeeded in his conquest of the Aztec Empire. I'm not saying that was right or wrong, just saying if you want your marriage to work, burn the boats, close the back door. Doesn't mean you can't find a boat and sail away later. If it doesn't work out, you can. But for the time being, you're staying put and you're going to make it work. Number 7 is to let go of anger. Anger is scary, especially to women. They find it really difficult to be around anger, most women. But our relationships are mirrors. And if your partner is angry, it's likely you feel angry too. And that anger is going to eat away at you and at the relationship. And my husband, I would always say, had anger issues. And I hated when he was angry and felt afraid for various reasons. But I would also get angry when he was angry. I was actually super pissed off at him. And once I admitted that I was pissed off and angry and took responsibility for my anger, I could stop feeling angry. I could look in the mirror of his anger and recognize and resolve my own. And then his anger resolved as well. Maybe not 100%, but it became reduced. Number 8 is to focus on what's working. What you focus on expands. Creative thought, deliberate creation, law of attraction. What you focus on expands. So stop focusing on what isn't working in your relationship and focus on what is. Then you'll have a lot fewer things to complain about and criticize. And yes, that step is that simple. Okay, number 9 is to communicate courageously. If you're anything like me, you avoid conflict, and often trying to talk to your partner about the relationship ends up feeling like a lot of conflict. So I want you to reframe conflict as communication. For a relationship to work, you have to communicate courageously and often, and you have to tell the truth. Say what needs to be said and let the chips fall where they may. And I know that's hard. I work with a lot of people who just do not want to tell their partner the truth because they're afraid the partner will walk out. But you have to communicate. If you're not communicating, there is no relationship. Number 10 is to be yourself. Too often we change to please our partners, or like me, to get along and make the relationship work. I stuffed all my woo-woo, metaphysical, esoteric, spiritual stuff on, under the rug to try to make the marriage work. And I stopped being me, right? But, that's really not a long-term or a short-term strategy for happiness or for a good relationship. So be yourself always. Don't change only to make your partner happy or to get along. Change if you want to, if you truly want to, and think it's the best for you. Otherwise, be you, be authentic. Okay? If your partner doesn't love and accept you as you are for who you are, there is no foundation for love and respect anyway. You want to be in a relationship with someone who really sees you and loves that person, don't you? Of course you do. So ultimately, if you change yourself, you change your relationship. Plain and simple, when you change yourself, you change your relationship. I could probably come up with another 10 things I did to change myself that resulted in my improved marriage. But these 10 will give you a good start. And keep in mind that it's never just about the other person and what they're doing wrong or how they need to change. It's also about you. So focus on yourself, change yourself, and then watch your relationship change. And if the relationship doesn't change, you can always choose to alter who you are in a relationship with. If you then, you change your relationships and you have the same challenges as you did previously, you'll know the truth that you're the one who needs to change. And only when you change will your relationships improve. Okay. So those are my 10 ways to improve your intimate relationships without asking your partner to change. It's all about you, all about you. So try out those 10 ways. Let me know what happens. It's work. I know it's hard work and it can be super uncomfortable, but you can do it. I have confidence in you. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know how it goes, or if you have questions, or go on over to my blog, As the Spirit Moves Me, at ninaamir.com, and read the post there. Maybe reading this information as well as hearing it will help you. And yeah, love yourself. Love yourself enough to work on you, to change you, and to develop really powerful, positive, intimate relationships. So I'm Nina Amir, the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I am a certified high performance coach and a transformational coach. And I'd love to help people get from where they are to where they want to go so that they can create their desires, fulfill their potential, and fulfill their purpose. So and to live a life that live a life that feeds their soul, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we forget the spiritual part. And the only way we're ever going to be happy is if we're also listening to our souls and doing things that feed our souls. So if you're interested in personal and spiritual growth and that holistic approach to who you are, then click on the link above for the Inspired Creator Community, where I offer live coaching every month. It's just me. There's no other coach. It's me. And we work on the whole being, the personal and the spiritual part of who you are, to help you achieve your purpose, achieve your potential, and live a life that feeds your soul. So click on the link above and join us. Be my honor to work with you in the Inspired Creator Community. Until I talk to you next time, go out there and achieve more inspired results.